But I feel like it's not get ready for the next thing. It's just allow more.
Yeah.
They told me today, well, I did a little bit of writing, and in my writing, they were sharing with me the analogy of an old phone versus a new phone. And I don't even know if you were, did you ever see a rotary phone? Do you know what that is? Did your grandmother ever have
Yeah,
one?
yeah.
Okay, because they were showing me
Yes.
that, and they're
Uh-huh.
like, this has one function, it's big and bulky, it's limited, you can only have it in one location, and this is the way it is, right? And they're saying, but we've evolved from
Right.
that way of being to a cell phone, which is smartphone, which has multifunctions, which does more stuff than we even know about,
Yep.
that is slim
Yep.
and sleek and goes wherever you are and is easy and rechargeable and renewable. But they're saying, you know, your cell phone does a bunch of stuff, but it still needs to be on the charger once in a while, right? It's like, you know, there is,
Oh,
you
that's
know, a
so
compatible
true.
notion with
Yes.
that. But they're saying it's like we're really moving
Hmm.
into a life that's multifunctional in the way that a cell phone is. But like the same way, you don't have to track where you are, you don't have to get directions, you don't need to, you know, have a separate item to take a picture. It's like all of these functions are there, but they're
Yeah, that's
saying,
true.
and they're intuitive, like somebody created them in alignment with your needs, like that was already anticipated, and they're saying that's more like
Right.
what we're stepping into. You know, all of the functions there, everything's available. We don't know how to do it, but they're saying you don't get confronted when you get a new phone, you just find out how it works and then
Mm.
you do it. But they're saying that's a
Yep.
better analogy to
Yep.
moving into the new. It's like realizing it's, you know, new phone, new life. It's like, okay, how does this work? How is this now? But it's learned by knowing you don't know, right? Like you don't look,
You
and they're
start from
saying
that.
there's
Yep.
some similarities, but you don't, they're saying, but there's some similarities from smartphone to smartphone. There is not a similarity from an old, you know, manual rotary phone to a smartphone. It's like, yes, they
No.
had, one
No.
of the functions was the same, but otherwise not the same, right?
Right.
And we
Right.
are the phone, but we're
No,
the
that's a
phone with
brilliant analogy.
multifunctions, and I know they're good. But they also said
They're
it's
really
like,
good.
you know, it's a little bit akin to how they talked about the brain being, you know, the library, and then all of a sudden it shifts into the internet. It's like, it's really it's so much more expansive than what we've known to be. We've known ourselves in limitation, and they keep just showing it's
Yeah.
like there's this bigger availability. But again, it's like we act like we don't have the manual, but our manual is the knowing, it's the alignment, and realizing you only align with that which you're aligning for with, and that's on purpose. But when you know that, then that's the, you know, you get to see what the guidance in is in each experience, or if it's fulfilling enough for you to just soak it in, you know. But they're saying it's like you can soak in fulfillment at every level, because knowing is a fulfillment in itself, but you have to acknowledge the knowing for that to be a fulfillment. That's why they are on us all the time about acknowledging ourselves. Am I talking too fast?
Not at all. I love it. I'm just letting the energy wash
I know,
right
I'm
on
like,
over.
that's why I felt like I'm talking very fast right now.
Woo! Oh,
um
it's so good. No, feels very channeled and
yeah.
awesome. Well, and
And
I love that
it
you
is.
both mentioned knowing, and I know it's knowing, but it's also the acknowledgement of not knowing. So it's double. It's the acknowledging of the knowing, it's the acknowledging of the
Right,
not knowing.
but they're
But
saying,
they're not contradictory.
well, and the cell phone makes it feel better because they're saying it's like we look at our life as if we should know what it is, and like we don't look at getting a new cell phone that way. You know, you don't know. You know, okay, I have to learn how this new functions, you know.
Hmm.
That's the thing. Well, and Apple's made me that way. I know that the settings are could be on the new phone exactly opposite of what they were on the last phone. You know what I mean? It's like they just like to like
Right.
flip-flop things just to make it a change. And that's fine, but it's like you know that. And they're saying, what if we applied that same concept of the new is like a new cell phone? I get to see how this works. I get to find the new
Yep.
functions. I get to allow it to be intuitive. I get to have it be a tool for fulfillment. You know, it gets to be all of those things. Well, and they're saying, look at what they're saying function wise, look at what the phone was a function of
Hmm.
before. It was you call a person when you're in a stagnant location. That's it, you know. And
That's
now look at the
true.
functions of phones. It's like, it's my personal assistant. It's my grocery list.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
my,
Hmm.
photo album. It's my, and they're like, and countless other things. Like there's so many things. And again, there's things we don't even that are sitting on our phones that we've never touched, that we've never known about, that could be facilitating good things in our life. But they're saying apply that to what we don't know about the new world, right? It's like we
Hmm.
do know basic functions of potentials and some of the new ways it's landing, but they're saying in the knowing you don't know and availability to know, you know, if I'm saying too
Hmm.
much, but um, sorry.
I do know. I know
Well,
what you're
you
saying.
knows.
I hear you.
Um,
Yeah.
but it is that. Well, and again, remember from our old conversations of, knowing is more powerful if you know, right? And you know is
Hmm.
more powerful if you have a third by experience. And they're saying that's what, those are the planes that are landing right now. That's the aligning with new ways of being. And sometimes it's not an actual thing. Sometimes it's a feeling space we get and the feeling space of connecting. But they're saying the knowing you know is very powerful even when it's not what you want, right? Because there are things landing and you don't want them. And it's like, yeah, that's powerful too. Because
Hmm.
again, all of this experience gets to be guidance, whether it's, you know,
Right.
this isn't working out, that's saying, okay, this isn't the way. You don't even have to do this. Or, whatever
Hmm.
part of that shows up for you. Because that inner knowing, as long as we're paying attention to it, will give us. They're showing my inner knowing as like, how your phone gives you notifications of things, or alerts or
Yes.
whatever's going on. It's like, that's what we do. We give those. But sometimes the alert is, bad weather ahead, and they're saying, but sometimes your gut tells you that too. It gives you the same alert of, beware, or not this way, or, and they're saying, but that's what to look at it like. If something's not feeling right, not aligned, then it's not that way. Then easy peasy, what is the way? And then feel for that, right? Or feel into
Hmm.
that. But those aligned spaces, they're saying, are giving us a bigger level of alignment because we don't have blocks to it as much anymore. Like there's not a fence or a wall between us and what we wanted,
Right.
because our old way of being used to be those things. Like if you said, I can't do that because of, that was between you and the capability of doing it, right? And it's like we've let a lot of those go, and so we don't have
Mm.
those impediments between us and the new potential, or receiving the new potential, I should say, because it's not, and even that's kind of like such a weird thing, because it's like we never, things don't stop aligning with us. Yes, we don't notice them occasionally if we're too much in other stuff, but it never stops knocking at the door, right? Like it will eventually get loud enough or align with you in a way if you are in alignment with that. Some people ignore the knock at the door forever. They just hear barking dogs and they're like, oh, well, I live in a neighborhood with barking dogs and it's just acceptable. And it's like, wait,
Mm.
I could have quiet? That's where they're saying it's like
Yeah.
we know we
Right.
could have quiet. We can have peace. We can have love. We know that there's a higher level of potential because we've tapped into it, because we've experienced, because we've come from it, because
Yep.
we're going back to it. It's like all of those things, but it's happening on top of this other knowing that got locked in because we had to survive to get to this point, right? But they're saying, look at it like a life preserver that got you here, and then take it off because you're on dry land now, right? Like you don't have to weather that as a
Oh,
thing to
wow.
wear.